Hey everybody, Mr. Regan here, and if you're watching this video, we're going to be looking at how to conduct our sim lab, where we explore how objects get their energy, more specifically, how to decide if claim 1 or claim 2 is supported by evidence from our sim. And today we're going to be breaking down how to create your system in task 7 and how to fill out your reasoning tool in task 8. So how to conduct our lab will have two parts in task 7 and 8. Now before we get into that, let's first talk about how can we collect and create an argument to support our claims about energy. So we're going to be collecting data and creating an argument to support our claims. And if you remember, we have our scientific argument here where we take a question like, how do we know something has energy? We have a claim, so we have our claims that we look to use, and we have evidence that we look to find and support with reasoning. Now, if you don't remember how to create a system in our lab and how to build, run, and analyze, there's a video here in the help section of the lesson that can help you. Otherwise, let's go ahead and talk about our three claims that we had at the start of the lesson. We were looking to answer the question, how do objects get energy? And we had three claims. Number one was objects can make their own energy. Claim two is objects get energy from objects that have energy. And 3 was only living things have energy. And hopefully we're able to realize that claim number 3 is very wrong. As we look to take our system here with our 5 different objects, we hopefully begin to see evidence that this is actually wrong. And there's evidence here to refute that. And today we're going to kind of look at that, and we're going to look at how to use that not only to conduct the lab, but create our argument. So let's take a look. So right off the bat, we have our claim, only living things have energy, and we're going to look for evidence to refute that and find that evidence. Now, first and foremost, we know if something is moving or changing, it is because of energy. We saw a lot of movement and change in our lab when we created our system, and we have all of this evidence that we could use. We could talk about the types of energy that we saw throughout our lab. We could talk about how things moved and changed within our different objects. And we can also talk about how all of those objects here are non-living objects. These aren't plants, these aren't animals, these aren't fish or humans. These are things that don't live. So right off the bat, we have a lot of things that we can observe, and we can pull in that evidence to refute this claim or prove it wrong. We could talk about how the energy from the fuel changes to be able to power the engine. We could talk about how we see movement, spinning of our engine wheel as it goes up and down to spin our motor that's in our generator. We can talk about how that changes that kinetic energy into electrical potential that goes into our battery. There's a lot of things that we can observe that shows that things that are moving or changing have energy, and how these are all non-living objects. So we know that claim 3 is incorrect, and we can refute it with a lot of evidence. So your job is going to be now to create a new sim system to collect the evidence to answer that same exact question. How do we know that, or how do objects get energy? So you can't use our old one. You have to create a new system using a generator. And you're going to create a scientific argument using 2 pieces of evidence to support or refute your original claim. So if you remember, I think it was in task 2 or 3, you had to decide if claim 1, claim 2, or claim 3 was the best claim. So you're going to go back and pick your original claim, okay? If you picked claim 3, pick a different claim, claim 1 or 2, and you're going to decide if there's evidence to support or refute that claim. So we're going to break down how to do all of that in task 7 or 8. So let's take a look at task 7 to start. Task 7, you're going to dive into the Amplify page as always, and you're going to create a system that has 5 to 7 parts. No less than 5, no more than 7, and it has to have a generator here. So when you go in there, I should see a screenshot of your Analyze page, okay? That shows me your system with all of your parts and all of those graphs with the energy moving throughout it. And as always, I should see a generator as one of those 5 to 7 parts. So I need to see the system you're using for our lab, because once you're done, you're then going to create your argument that's going to help you explain how your claim is either supported or refuted by evidence. So let's take a look at an example using our old system, using our old argument that we had from here. So I might start off by saying I observed the engine moving up and down to spin the generators. This is something I observed happen. Notice I'm not talking about anything related to energy. I'm just talking about that movement or change that I saw. And I'm doing that because I know my key concept says whenever something moves or changes, it's because of energy. So right off the bat, I know that this evidence is going to refute claim 3. So I know my claim is going to be, therefore, the evidence refutes claim 3. So let's talk about how we go from the evidence and key concepts all the way to the claim. And that's with our reasoning. Our reasoning brings it all together. So according to the key concept, we know that if something moves or changes, it's because of energy. So there it is. I'm pulling those words and phrases in. That's highlighted in orange. Now let's take a look at the yellow section. As the engine moved up and down, it spun the motor it was attached to. So there it is. I'm pulling in that observation. I'm literally pulling in these words and these words into my reasoning. Here's the last part. This movement happened because of energy, even though both objects are non-living objects. So notice, I'm refuting that idea that only living things have energy. So therefore, the evidence refutes claim 3. So ladies and gentlemen, your job is going to be to have 2 observations, 2 things you see happen in your system. Remember, it's got to be a new system, cannot be this old one, okay? You're going to tell me, does your evidence support or refute your original claim, so claim 1 or claim 2? And then as you write your reasoning, you got to pull in your key concept and observations. So that's how you complete 7 with your new system and 8 with your argument. Go ahead and fill out your survey. Do you understand how to create your system for task 7 and how to fill out your reasoning tool for task 8? If you have questions, reach out. Otherwise,